who is Yoko 5000, uses an image. He takes a crop of an image from the actual release notes. So for update 27, if we navigate to the release notes, the image for update 27 here is actually a crop of the second image down on the page here. I'm not sure why he didn't use the angel instead of Milicia, or however you pronounce her name, but that was what he chose to do. If somebody else wanted to go in and crop this and use that instead, that would be fine. Just upload over the existing folder, the existing file. So we want to do the same thing for update 28. This is where I'm going to use the snipping tool, because I happen to like that particular method the best. So snipping tool, and I want our green slad to be in there. I know you can't see what it's doing with the snipping tool because that freezes everything else. So using the snipping tool, that was the image that I captured. I like that image right there. We are going to save that. Just to make it easy to find, I am going to save that where all of your screenshots will be saved. If you take screenshots using Control-P in-game, they will be saved in your My Documents Dungeons & Dragons Online folder. Using the clipping tool saves as a PNG by default. So we are going to name it, let's go back here. We don't know what the name of this is. So we're going to have to do some research. How do we name these files? Well, let's take a look here. That particular file is named home_update27.png. So let's name this one. Where's my capture? Right here. Let's name it home_update28.png. Everything looks good there. Save. Now let's open this. We can close this here. The other thing that we can see is that the image is forced to be 60 by 60 pixels. The actual image itself is 60 by 60 pixels anyways, which wasn't the original the original size of the image. We're probably going to want to make it bigger than that because 60 by 60 is really small. We're probably going to want to make it a little bit bigger to get everything that we want. We'll probably end up doing some multiple of 60, so like 120 by 120 or 180 by 180. So let's do that. Let's open a new paint window. I like Paint. Paint is easy to work with for an image editor. If you wanted to be really picky about it, GIMP is a better imaging program. It will give you a better quality. But like I said, something is better than nothing. If they really aren't happy with the quality, they're more than welcome to take their own screenshot, right? So let's see here. What do we got? What is our canvas size? Resize pixels. It is 245 by 233. That's what we have right now. I just went to resize and switch it to pixels to see what we had. This is also available in the bottom of the screen down here. So let's crop it a little bit so that we get a 180 by 180. That's what I want. That's my goal. So 180 by 180 would be... That's 180 by 180. I can cut that. I can shrink the size of the canvas here. Open a new. We don't want to save. We're going to make that a smaller canvas. As long as it's less than 180 by 180, when we hit Control V, it'll auto expand. We now have a 180 by 180 screenshot for update 28. So let's save this. As a PNG picture. And we're going to overwrite our existing file. Yes. Alright. We're doing good here. We now have a screenshot. Close out of here. One of the awesome things that I did when I set this stuff up, good morning, Grimax. Is I made it so that if there wasn't a screenshot, you could actually click on the image and it would take you to where the page is supposed to be, and then you can click upload it. We're going to upload our screenshot. Choose file, home update 28. That's what it looks like. Nothing special to see here. It's 78 KB, which is going to be under the 150 large file size. So let's just upload it. And there it is. One of the things that people often notice that when they upload a picture, if they go to where they expect the picture to be, it sometimes won't show up, and that is because of local caching. If I was to re-upload a new picture, it would still show the old picture. In order to fix that, you have to completely refresh the page, clearing your cache. So a page reload would bring that up, and it would show the new picture. We actually have a page on that. If you go to DDO bypass, it tells you all about this cache thing. So it tells you, using different browsers, how to clear your local cache, and gives detailed instructions. I'm not going to go through each one, but I'm using Google Chrome at the moment, and basically it's Control-Shift-R. So Control-Shift-R will refresh the page and clear out any old data that's in there. It'll update to the new picture that way. So that is bypass your cache. And we now have our update 28. We scroll back through, we can see that update 9 didn't use that. It used a different style picture. We might wish to update that at some point. Update 7 had a different picture for half orcs. We might wish to change that at some point. We might just crop that down. Update 6 actually used the icon for the adventure pack that was released. We might want to change that. Update 5 used something strange, and there isn't anything for update 1 through 4. We might want to get pictures for those before we're done today too. So let's go back to the screenshots that we took of ShoeMaker, because ShoeMaker needs a screenshot, right? So if we go back to our paint screenshot, we can see it's a whole screenshot. It's everything that's on the page. You can see my toolbar. If you go over here, you can even see, you know, my Twitch feed going on. There's some other stuff on the screen at the bottom, but that's classified information. If I showed you, you know, I'd have to kill you. Thank you, Grim. But yeah, there's my XSplit broadcaster showing, you know, what was happening on my screen at the time. So we just care about getting a picture of ShoeMaker. So we're gonna simply select and I'm gonna crop a picture. So it looks like my width is going to be 450, and in order to make it so that, you know, I get a decent picture, I like square pictures for this type of thing, so we're going to make it 450 by 450. Cut that out. We don't care about what's on this page. We can actually Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, and you'll see that my default that I use is a really small image because I do a lot of this type of thing for this purpose. And Control V will put our ShoeMaker up there in the top corner. So let's save this as a PNG, and let's save it as ShoeMaker MS Paint, because that's what we're using. And that's what it looks like when you take a screenshot and you crop it with Paint. That was using our Control print screen and then Control V into Paint here. We have that picture saved. So we can close that. That is a PNG, although you can also do save as a JPEG if you wanted to save it as a JPEG as well. We now have a JPEG and a PNG, whichever you prefer. Interesting things about that. We can close this. If we go to My Documents, Dungeons & Dragons Online, open, close the preview, and we look at the details, you can see that the PNG image is a lot bigger than the JPEG. That typically means that there is, we actually had a discussion about that, I'll get to that in a minute, whether or not there was a preference on Wiki. You can see the PNG has a lot more data in it. You could stretch it out if you wanted to and it would look okay. I mean, on the surface, they look the same at the size that they're supposed to be. But if you preview them, and you start zooming in a little bit, you could definitely see the difference. So if we go to max zoom versus max zoom, there's a little bit of a difference there, and the quality. I am an admin. I am one of 2 stewards, actually, which means that I am the super-powered DDO Wiki god. Well, there are 3 stewards. One of them's a host. He doesn't actually edit, and we haven't been able to get a hold of him for a long time. I am one of 4 stewards. There is me. There's me. I actually have 2 accounts for different purposes. There is Zevo, who is the host of the wiki that we never see, and then there's Yoko. What does being a steward mean? It means that you are the DDO Wiki god. This is the highest rank with unlimited privileges. Promotion to this group will be decided upon on a case-by-case. We've actually had some discussions about doing an election for this, with Yoko, myself, and Zevo remaining static and adding, you know, 1 community-picked steward every year. Basically, what being a steward means is that you can add and remove users from all groups. Since this user group has the ability to modify any user group, including themselves, they inherently have all privileges. You can make yourself a bot if you want to. Yeah, it's top of the line there. So if you ever have an issue on Wiki, you let me know, and I will make things happen. There have been occasions where the community has decided things that were against what I thought was something it should be, but I implemented it anyway because that's what the community wanted. That's kind of how it works. I lost my train of thought. Where was I? Oh yes, I was heading to GIMP. GIMP was the next thing. So we have our screenshot in GIMP as well. GIMP is a little bit easier for cropping, if that's what you're here to do. You can click on the crop tool, and then just kind of like draw a box, and say, you know, I want this box, and I want it to be 400 by 400, and that looks good to me. And then click in the middle, and you now have a 400 by 400 that looks like that. So you can then you can zoom in. That's what it looks like at 100% and 400%, and you can make details, minor details to it if you want to. Like I could take a paintbrush here, and I could, you know, decrease my brush size, and I clicked off there. I hate it when that happens. Brushes. No, that wasn't what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. I'm trying to find my tools again. There we go, tool options. That's what I wanted. Alright, so we can decrease our brush size. And, you know, we can make it a little bit smaller. And we can give... We can give Shue a mustache because, you know... Shue needs a mustache. It is going to be, you know, Movember in a couple months. There we go. Now we have mustache Shue. You could always, you know, troll other people that way. That's Shue. He's got a mustache. We can save that. When you're using GIMP, saving isn't exactly what you want to do. What saving will end up doing is ShoeMaker Movember. Saving will actually save it as an XCF file, which only works in GIMP. If you want to make this image available to use, you actually have to export it, and you can select your file type, and you can use PNG or JPEG. If we go back here and we go to Special Upload, the accepted file types are PNG, JPEG. Do not use JPEG. We also accept TIFF, TIFF, and BMP. Don't use those either. Those are like against the image policy, even though the Wiki technically accepts them. That needs to be adjusted at some point. There are tons of ways to contribute. As far as GIFs go, we actually haven't had any discussions on that. They haven't been like forbidden yet. Be gentle with them. If you make something that's annoying, blinks like crazy, and can cause seizures, I will eliminate it. It will be the weakest link. Goodbye. But yeah, PNG, JPEG. That's where we tend it to stick. I know that TIFF is the Mac equivalent of that, but we actually don't use it because who uses a Mac, right? So let's go back to Movember. Make it a PNG, export, and there we go. There's our Movember Shue. Simple image editing program, mostly used for cropping. I don't have a very good background on this image, but if you wanted to make the background transparent for some reason, and some people actually go to great lengths to make transparent backgrounds for item image things so that they can get the little handles and stuff. We'll actually go over what our policy is on that in a minute. Yes, discard the changes. I exported it, and then I changed it by exporting it. I changed it, and it asked me if I wanted to resave, and I don't. So let's open up one where I've already gone through the great lengths. Open. It's right on my desktop. I believe it's this one. Yes. Alright, so some people go through great lengths to make sure that they make transparent backgrounds and they crop out all this stuff. Don't worry about doing that. It's great. It's an option. You can do it if you want to. If you have an easier way than going through and pixel by pixel cleaning up the edges, don't worry about doing that. So let's close that one. Let's grab a screenshot that I took from Lamania, from my removable disk, update 28. I took a picture of, well, let's see what we need. Let's go to recent changes. Let's see what items are missing screenshots from the new pack. Update 28 named items. Locked and loaded doesn't have a picture, apparently. So let's do the locked and loaded, which is a hand wraps. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start building a page. Named weapon. We don't need to know all the formatting for the template. All we need to do is hit show preview, scroll down to edit box, scroll down a little bit further, go to named weapon, open that in a new tab, and we can scroll back up a little bit here, and then we can go over here and we can just copy and paste. Named weapon, copy, paste. And we're also going to note that since my screenshot is from Lamania, I want to note that at the top of the page. For hand wraps, just enter hand wrap. It's a hand wrap. We know that it's a hand wrap. Without even having the screenshot, we know a couple things. We know that it's a hand wrap. Redundant, isn't it? Templates do need to be adjusted. I just haven't gotten to it. There's no race restriction. Class. I don't remember what we used for those. Because there are parameters that I don't remember what we use, we're going to go back to the template in a new page for a minute. And if we scroll down, this one doesn't have it. Okay. The documentation is all in here. So we'll have to play with it because I don't remember what it is. I believe class is bludgeoning. I don't know. I believe it's a simple based on memory. Leave blank if not used, that's fine. That's fine. We don't know what those things are. We don't know what those things are. We know that we're going to use the bind template. I believe, if I remember correctly, all of these items are bound to account and bound on acquire. Based on the update 28 named items page, we know that locked and loaded is in Tavern Brawl. Now with this one, it's a little bit different than most because Tavern Brawl is actually a disambiguated page, disambiguated with quest on the end. And if we do show preview on that, it will show Tavern Brawl quest, and we really don't want to see the quest in there. So what we need to do is we need to use our pipe template, because we're inside of a template and using a regular pipe would be very, very bad. It would break things. Nothing after this point would work. And then we want to copy Tavern Brawl onto the end. Because it's a disambiguated page, we actually need to do it this way in order for it to display properly. We don't know which chest it's in. We don't No, if it's an end reward option, it's not a turn-in. We don't care about that. It's not epic. Epic was a very specific parameter for back when we used seal shard scrolls. We don't care about that. We don't know what the enhancements are without the screenshot. There's no crafting or any of that. Put in a little summary here because we always want to use a summary. And we're going to do a show preview. So we got a bunch of things that are missing here. We don't know a lot of stuff here. No picture here, no picture there. That all looks good. So picture is what the item looks like. Hand wraps don't really have a look. We'll have to use a focus orb for that. I actually don't have the focus orb screenshot for that, and I don't have the ability to get it on this system because it was based on Lamania. We'll have to deal with that later. We can leave it as no pick for now. But pick descript, pick desk, not very descriptive name, but it's picture description. So it's whatever the description image is. So we need to figure out what our naming policy is for that. So if we go to, this is where we start getting into having to know the naming policy. DDO naming policy. So we got file naming. Generally, it should match the above rules. The above rules is in regards to, most simply, this wiki uses sentence case. So only the first word is capitalized except for proper nouns. On the name of the item, it's going to be the name of the item. It's a proper noun. So it's going to be locked and loaded as it is. For files, and it needs to end with an appropriate lowercase extension. Make sure that your extensions .jpg, .png, whichever you choose, is lowercase. People get upset when it's not. It doesn't make a physical, technical difference to anything, except it annoys people. So we try to do lowercase. The wiki is case sensitive. Files cannot be directly moved as of this point. So it's important to be careful when typing a file name. File names do not need to match the name of the file you're actually uploading. That's something different. The easiest way to ensure you get it right is to link the file first before it exists on the wiki, which is what we're going to do. That's why we started creating the page first. Then click the red link to upload it, and it will automatically go to the right place. You can see our permitted file types there. Do not use BMP for anything. Again, try not to use those. The very simple stuff. We often ignore the 150 KB recommendation. Try not to go with, a 1.5 meg for a simple shown weapon. How to crop compress images. Somebody was a smarty and put Google it. Well, you don't have to Google it anymore. We now have a live stream. I'll be replacing Google it with this live stream, a link to the stream at some point once it's done and uploaded to YouTube. We try to avoid externally hosted images. They will display, but we really don't like them. So we get to file naming. While not required to follow any pattern, it makes things a lot easier if we try to all use the same syntax. Preferred weapon pattern for description images, which is what we're doing right now. Page name .png. So what we need is page name PNG. What is the easiest way to get page name .png? Well, if we use the Wiki's internal stuff, we can actually do page name .png. And now we don't have to worry about it. But what we are going to do is, because we don't want it to use a template every time, we're going to substitute that in so that it actually puts the page name in there and it becomes static, so that if somebody ever moves the page, it will still know where to find the image. You can see we use the same thing up here for name. Very rarely is that changed. That's why it was in the template. So now all we need to do is show preview. And it will show as a red link instead of a no pick. Opening that red link in a new tab will give us locked and loaded.png. That's where our image is going to go. So now we need to look a little bit more at our file naming policy. We're not doing a warn action shot, although they're the same. They're page name, and then you just append shown.jpg on it, or PNG, or whatever you like. One of those two. Preferred pattern for anything else. For example, an orb would be page name orb. Also acceptable for focus orbs is to crop the item name and only show the orb. That's the actual image itself. Current naming for such focus orbs is type general description.png. So necklace generic gold, or trinket generic bauble. Most of those are already done. Don't really need to worry about it. I don't. Preferred description image cropping resolution 420 by height. Usually round it to the nearest tenth while maintaining the item's border. .420 is what we use in the templates. So if you want it to look best, that's what you should use. Any other width will automatically be resized. So if it's not that width, it'll still work. It'll just, the resizing will actually pixelate it and make it look weird. Do not crop the item's border. What that means is, if we open, we're doing our hand wraps. Locked and loaded hand wraps right there. So if we open up hand wraps, I actually have the heroic and epic version there. What that means is that if you're cropping the image, don't crop the borders. So this right here would not be an acceptable crop. People get upset about that. You're losing some information. Let's undo that. Again, don't worry about saving every little detail like the wings. We don't care about the wings. That's actually the next thing in the thing. The border color is gameplay impacting detail that should be maintained. It says you should clip the wings to get the border to 420, but not the border itself. Clipping the wings, up to you. If you don't clip them, somebody might come along and take your image, download it, clip them, and re-upload it. that means you did extra work for nothing. Although if you go to itemwiki.cubicleninja.com and you pick an item, grab a level 14 let's find out all the level 14 weapons. Oh, let's just get a list of all weapons, all items, it doesn't matter. All items with the letter A. Searching. So if you go through here, you'll find a lot of screenshots. A lot of them are those types of screenshots, and you'll see that they keep the wings and they use transparent backgrounds. Some of them are cropped the same way. Oh, most of them are probably cropped the way that we use on Wiki. A lot of them probably came from the Wiki, to be honest. But some of them actually do use the other version, and that's fine if you want to do that and upload it to both. You have that ability. So, preferred worn action shots, as high resolution as possible. While they be resized to 420, if the user clicks on them, they can see the full resolution, which is something that we want. The more detail, the better. You should try to go for 420 as a minimum. Now for tips, there are certain places that offer either a completely black or a completely white solid backdrop. Take screenshots of against one of those backdrops. It makes cropping much easier. Some of those places are the dark corners of the damaged Lord's Mark Bank during this chronoscope, black and very easy framing, shadows on the ground just outside the tower of Kol Koran in House K. You see a lot of things here. There's actually one, the one that I use for these is actually in the Hall of Heroes. If you angle your camera just right where the doors for the seasonal events are, that currently don't seem to do anything ever, but that gives you that black background. So let's get on with it, right? So we're going to go to the crop tool, and we're just going to draw a box. It doesn't matter what size it is because we're in GIMP. Let's get rid of our selection there because we don't care about that. We're going to stretch this out a little bit, and we're going to stretch this out a little bit, and we're going to go up here. We're going to get our height. That's the first thing. Now we want a 420 width. So 420. We now have a 420 width. So our position, we're going to try to center that 420 width. And we're going to crop. We now have a 420px cropped, locked, and loaded. We are going to export this file. Export as. And we're going to, I personally like to use the name of what it's going to be on Wiki. So locked and loaded.png. Export. Export. We now have a locked and loaded. And it is saved on my flash drive in the U28 folder. Okay. So, because we also have, we go back to the base image here, we also have the Epic version here. So we're going to crop that while we're here. Draw our box. Get our height what we want. Slide it over a little bit. Make it 420. And slide it over to center it. About like that. Crop. Export as. Epic locked and loaded. Export. Export. Alright, so we're done in GIMP. Close that. We don't care about the changes. Shrink that back down. Alright, so now we're going to go back here to our upload file. Destination locked and loaded.png. Choose file. It is on my removable disk in update 28. There's the Epic locked and loaded right there. Open. 420 by 498. It's 200 kilobytes, which means it's going to be larger than our 150 kilobyte large file size, which I'm actually trying to get increased to 300 or 500. Because 150 isn't really that big anymore. I mean, really. Put a little blurb in here. Little Twitch shout out. We're going to want to ignore any warnings because we know that it's going to give us a warning that it's more than 150 kilobytes. So we can upload the file. We now have locked and loaded. If we go back here, we don't see our picture yet. We can do show preview again. And there is our image. The reason that they're showing off the edge of the screen is because I'm zoomed in a lot in order for you to be able to see the text on the screen. If I was at normal size, it would all fit on the screen just fine, but you wouldn't be able to read this as well. So let me zoom back in a little bit so that you can read things. Let's scroll down a little bit. Alright, what do we have here? I always like to start at the bottom and work my way up. Our description. Prepared for war. Very simply, whatever's in the description down here at the bottom, that's the description. I don't know why there's a lot of extra blank space here. I think they kind of rushed these items a little bit, to be honest. But is what it is. So, weapon bonus is a +5. The next thing... Oh, it's a spellcasting implement. So because it's an implement, we're going to change that W to an I for implement. Alright, so spellcasting implement plus 5, fire lore 5. So, it's going to be spell lore fire 5. That's my guess on what it is. It's got 2 parameters there. Let's see if it's in here. It's got at least 2 variables. Spell lore. One, we don't do this system anymore. It's simply, so it's going to be spell lore all one word. It's going to be 5 fire. Alright. Next thing on the list. Let's scroll back up here. Kinetic lore 5. And then sonic lore 5. So we're going to use a template. We're just going to use this right here. Spell lore 5 pipe kinetic end. Enter spell lore 5 pipe sonic end. We now have insightful potency. Potency is going to be spell power. Spell lore, spell pen, spell focus. Let's see here. Maybe spell power is in more variables. There it is. Spell power. Five, and it is potency spell power 5 potency and then this, and it's going to be insightful. Go down to the next line. We're going to have an orange augment slot. So it's not augmentation. Augment orange close. So that's that. Weight. We have a weight here, so it's 0.50 pounds. Its cost is 5603. I personally don't care about adding the comma. I know the templates will do it for me. Its hardness is 11. It is made from cloth. Its durability is 120. Its minimum level is 14. It has no damage or attack mods, so we can dump those. It has no UMD. It has no proficiency or class. It has no crit, so I don't need any of those fields. And I do believe that's it. So let's do show preview to make sure that we have things as they're supposed to be. So it looks like we have some issues with our template usage here. But we can see everything else is in there. Race absolutely required isn't working. I need to fix that in the template. For none, we leave it blank. Alright, we can fix that. Critical threat range, none. Tavern Brawl shows up as it's supposed to, and it links to the quest. Prepared for war. Click here for more options. So, what we need to do is we need to take a look at spell power and spell lore templates, because they gave us errors. It doesn't like what we put in, even though that's what we used to use. It's been a while since I've done one of these. So, spell power. Spell power is spell power type amount optional parameters. So we're going to change potency to universal for spell power. And then put the 5 in after it. So universal 5. Show preview. Nope, that doesn't work. Potency. Potency 5 instead of 5 potency. There we go. Insightful potency 5. So that one's working now. So now we just need to work on the spell lores. When in doubt, always check the template's documentation. Where element is. So it's spell lore element magnitude bonus type. We have, okay, so we just have these backwards. Let's switch this and switch this and switch this and do a show preview. Fire lore 5, kinetic lore 5, sonic lore 5. Let's change those 5s to Vs. I'll need to update that template at some point to be able to accept either. Insightful potency should be a number. Show preview. We actually have templates that convert hexadecimal and decimal to Romans and back. But there we go, there's all that. So Fire lore 5, 15%. So those all line up. So it looks like we're done here from what we have. Save page. Close all the other tabs, and we now have a locked and loaded page. Hand wraps weapons. So that's not quite right. If we load this, it's the only one there. What if we dump the S and the red link? Hand wrap. Oh, nope. Wrong S. Let's dump this S. Alright. So let's work our way backwards. We know that it would be in weapons. So we know adamantine knuckles are hand wraps. Edit. Scroll down. So basically what we need is hand wrap, 20x2, hand wrap, simple, bludgeoning, strength. So they left strength for those, and it's a simple proficiency. So these are the pieces that we need. Type, hand, and class. Hand wrap, simple, bludgeoning. If we go back to editing this, and we paste that in there, we no longer need type, we no longer need hand, and we no longer need class. Well, you know what? We're just going to copy this whole section. And somebody can change it later if they think that it's right. fixes. Some people use CE for copy edit. And save. And there we go. Now that all looks right. So we're at the 1 hour marker. I'm going to take a 5-minute break to refill my coffee cup, and I will be right back. Now that we've done an example, we can do the epic lock loaded next if I don't get any questions, or I would love to hear your questions for other things that we can do here. So 5-minute break. And we're back for the exciting second half of DDO Wiki Talk with T13 with your host ShoeMaker. or Technical 13, depending on where you know me from. Let's see what we got here. I see no questions coming in, but you can see our new locked and loaded item that we created in the first half of the stream. You can see our uploaded files. You can see that Crew 121's also been working on uploading files. Apparently he's not very good at creating orb images. Looks like he also started a page for the Red Slad, which is awesome. Lots of new Update 28 stuff going on. That's something else I should bring up. If you accidentally edit while logged out and your IP address is displayed, such as this one right here, if this happens, all you need to do is log in and contact me or any other bureaucrat or higher. Bureaucrats and stewards have the ability to actually remove your username, your IP address from the log, and it will show up in the deletion log. Registered user editing while logged out, revealing IP. People can use your IP address to geolocate within a reasonable area where you are. So if you don't want to give out, if you don't want people knocking on your door visiting saying, hey, you screwed up this page on DDO Wiki. Not that that would ever happen, realistically. But I suppose, you know, anything's possible in this day and age. I've heard of stranger things happening. So, if you don't want that to happen, first thing you need to do is make sure you have an account, which we went over how to create one in episode 1, and part of that got lost. So Thursday, while they did update 28, you'll find a special edition of the DDO Wiki Talk stream where I restreamed it and went over how to create the account. If you have any questions about creating an account, or if you have difficulties creating an account, send me an email. I'll be happy to create an account for you and have it send your user credentials to your email address. You let me know if you want an account and can't make it yourself or don't know how, and I will do it for you. Just send me an email to legend.of.the.red.dragon@gmail.com, or probably a lot more easier, and I should have just gone with one, technical_13@yahoo.com. Send me an email, and I would be happy to create your account for you. It will send you your username and a randomly generated password, which you will have to change on your first login. Okay, so seeing no questions, we are going to create the epic locked and loaded, if it doesn't already exist. So, update 28 named items. I'm actually surprised there's nothing going on in IRC today either. Update 28 items. Go down to Epic here. Apparently the Epic locked and loaded is already done. Let's take a look. See what has been created. Basics. You can see that it says end chest, and it's got this, so we're going to fix that actually, because we don't like the way that looks. We also see that it's got a red box, what we call a red boxed image, and it's a lower quality image. So we're going to upload a new image there. Awesome. I was hoping that I would come across an example of having to upload a new image today. So first thing we're going to do, except that this is a JPEG, and we have a PNG. So let's do this. I don't want to upload a new file and have two files and have to go and delete one. I don't have the ability to delete files. So I am going to take and I am going to open my Epic locked and loaded that we just created as a PNG. and I am going to export as, and I'm going to do select by file type, and I am going to make this one a JPEG. You can see that GIMP automatically uses all lowercase JPG. Export. Export. And we now have a JPEG. Epic locked and loaded JPEG. We can close this, go back here. Let's open up this page in a new tab. Here is our epic locked and loaded.jpg. It's red boxed, we don't really like it. Looks like Zav, JJMC89, uploaded it. And he uploaded it from somebody else who apparently couldn't upload it themselves. He did it on their behalf. Or he copied it from one of their posts on the forums or something. I'm interested in... They have 17 edits. Apparently they couldn't upload it themselves for whatever reason. I'll probably hear from Zav at some point explaining it, but I'm not going to worry about it. We are going to upload a new version of this file. Well, before we do that, if this is a live version, I want to check and make sure that the Lamania nothing changed between this version and Lamania. So let's go back here for a minute. Let's open that back up. Epic locked and loaded.jpg. Move this off to the side. Alright, so let's compare these. Spellcasting plus 12, Fire Lore 8, Kinetic Lore 8, Sonic Lore 8, Insightful Potency 10, Empty Orange Augment Slot, Prepared for War 230, Cloth 22. So nothing changed between Lamania and the live version. The only differences in our screenshots is that ours is a little bit higher of a quality, and we're not red boxed. So we're good there. So now we can go upload a new version of this file. Choose File, Epic locked and loaded JPEG. There it is, 420 by 5. We can see that it's 280 kilobytes, so we're going to get a warning. Except that we're going to ignore the warnings. No changes from live. Watch this on http twitch.tv/DDO stream and upload file. And we're uploading. So wait a minute, we just uploaded this, right? Why isn't it showing what we uploaded? I mean, it shows up down here that we uploaded it. What's going on here? Remember that caching thing that I mentioned? Bypass your cache. On the actual upload page itself, if we take a look at what the upload page is, you will see that it doesn't say it anymore. There used to be a notice up here saying that you would have to bypass your cache after uploading. I'll have to fix that. There should be a notice up there that says you will need to bypass your cache after uploading. If I go to If I go to a JavaScript page, I don't have any customs, okay? Doesn't show up here either. Let's create a page with just a comment for now. We're not going to get into JavaScript. But I want to have the page created and see. There it is. So on the upload page, this notice right here should be there. I will have to re-add that. That's something on my end I have to take care of. But when you upload a new image, you need to do the bypass. So we're in Google Chrome right now. So it says Control-Shift-R. So what we need to do is press Control-Shift-R now that we've uploaded a new file. And there is our version. We dumped the cached image. There is our new version. I've had numerous people say, I've uploaded it, how come it didn't work? Or I've seen where people have re-uploaded a file 8 times, and it's the same 8 images in the history log here, and I just shake my head. Oh, why didn't they just bypass? So now what we need to do, it's no longer sourced from Mastar X, so we can clean that out. We don't need that anymore. Save page. Now. Oh, wait. How come we still have the old image here? Well, let's see what happens when we reload the page. No, it's still the old image. So reloading isn't sufficient to clear your cache. We don't have a purge button there. Alright, so Control-Shift-R that we learned. And there is our new version. Nice, pretty image. So the only thing we really need to fix here is Tavern Brawl Quest. So we go to Edit. Everything looks good here. Tavern Brawl Quest. We're going to add our pipe. Tavern Brawl. Pipe quest name. Save page. And now it shows Tavern Brawl. Creates a red link category there. Let's open that twice. We're going to open it here and in a new tab. And here we're going to get rid of the word quest in the red link. So there's nothing in Tavern Brawl. And there's only one thing here in Tavern Brawl Quest. The reason the other ones haven't showed up yet is because there is no chest name. You actually have to put end chest in there. So we have a red link category that we have to deal with. First thing we're going to do is, since it should be Tavern Brawl Quest, because that is the name of the quest page, we need to make a category redirect to point people there, so that anybody that comes here will know to look there. So subst page name quest. Let's see what that looks like. It might be redirect cat. I don't remember what the template name is exactly. There it is. So it's redirect cat. We're going to substitute the page name in quest. So we're going to copy. We want people to know what we did. Save page. So anybody that comes to category Tavern Brawl, if anything ever ends up in here by accident, we'll know that it belongs here. And there's our epic locked and loaded. So let's find actually, I think it's supposed to be quest loot. So let's see here. I might have to make some template changes to fix this. So it's quest loot. These pages are not automatically populated yet. A DPL query template needs to be written for them, but they don't exist yet. So let's see here. Underscore loot. Ah, there's the other ones right there. So it looks like we need to do some category fixes here. Let's go to Barbet's Braces, one that's in here as it's supposed to be. Tavern Brawl Quest. Okay, so they didn't use a piped. That's why. I need to fix that in the template. That's a complicated thing. It's going to take me a little while to think about how to deal with that. And we only have 30 minutes left of this show. And I would like to do a little bit more image cropping. So, we're going to come back to this. Maybe not in this stream, but we might do it in an after show stream or a stream at another time on my personal channel of twitch.tv/technical_13. Please be sure to follow my channel at some point too. twitch.tv/technical_13. So, we're not going to worry about that just yet. I'm going to go through and fix those things this week. So, let's see here. What else do we have? That's kind of a low quality picture, but it's okay. Another thing that comes in really handy is this down here at the bottom. Knowing when the page was last modified, what update it is, can give you hints to whether or not the page is outdated. There is currently no way that I can think of off the top of my head without some deep thought for me to have it automatically, well, I could do it with JavaScript, and I might actually do that. So feedback required. Create an account, get a hold of me by email. I'm going to start a discussion in the near future about the idea of creating a new JavaScript that will automatically display the update template on pages that haven't been updated in, I don't know, 5 updates, a year, 6 months. When does content, when do pages become obsolete? That will be the discussion. What time frame should we use for that? The other thing is it will ignore pages that have history tags on them. That's going to be a requirement because history pages will never change. They'll never need to be updated. So yeah, I'd love to see some feedback on that. Alright, so we need more images. Let's take a look here. Update 28 named items. Let's work on that. Let's open some tabs. We know that we have locked and loaded. We did that one ourselves. Let's open the other ones. I'm wondering which ones have pictures and which ones don't. So there are our heroic versions. We got a lot of tabs open, don't we? Let's scroll down to Epic. We're not going to open Epic tabs just yet. Return to sender. Has a shown image. Has a description image. This description image was taken using a skin inside of the DDO client. When you're taking screenshots for the wiki, please disable your skins. It's missing the very important, or well, I don't know, I'd say very important, but it's missing the fact that it's a gold bordered item. There are gold borders and platinum borders and all kinds of different things in that mean that it was released with different packs, different content. Doesn't really change the weapon any, or the item any, or the level of the item. It just gives you an idea of when the item was from. A lot of people don't realize that named items over the years have had different border colors and shapes and styles and whatnot. I would love to get some feedback from a developer about those choices. How did they come up with changing those? Will it always be the gold border from now on? Well, they wouldn't know if it will always be, but is it the plan for it to stay that way for the foreseeable future? That's the correct way to word that. So yeah, we need to do a new return to sender, which is a throwing dagger. So let's open throwing daggers. Open. Throwing daggers. That means it's all capitals, and it's the weapon type, which means that it was, I got the heroic and the epic side by side, instead of just one, like I did down here. Some of them I had to do in two pieces, like the epic slice, and the dice has a top and a bottom. Those are going to be a little bit of work to put together. We're going to have to actually build those ourselves. Exciting things. So let's open up throwing daggers. Alright, so let's stretch this out a little bit and zoom into 200% or 150%. 150% works. Crop, give me a crop window. It needs to be 420 wide. It needs to be centered on the item. It needs to be dragged up and dragged down. Another thing that I should note, even if base value is empty and weight is empty, please make sure to capture that in your screenshot. Even if they're empty, we want to see that they're empty so that we know that they have no value. So let's save this or export it. First thing we want to do is we want to find out, so the person before, you can't see it. Let me get rid of my camera for a minute. A very important feature is if you mouse over something, it's really going to be hard to see, but in the bottom left hand corner of the screen, you can see it says ddowiki.com /page/file:/return to sender.png. When you mouse over any link in just about any browser, it will show you what the destination, the URL destination for that link is. It makes it a little bit easier. We know that we want to export it as a PNG now so that we can upload over the existing version. Let's bring my camera back. So you can see my wonderful bald head. So we're going to export this as, this is the Epic version, Epic return to sender.png. Make sure that my spelling is right. Another question that I've gotten from time to time is developers have been known to misspell. No, I guess misspell isn't the right. They've been known to come up with unique spellings for words in order to have unique items or flavorful items, or we're just going to go with they do it so that it's flavorful, not that they, were in a rush and typed it wrong and didn't have anybody check it. Because, it's the flavor. It's intentionally done for flavor. In cases where words appear to be misspelled, use the misspelled word. That is the name of the item. Unless the developer changes it, which I've never seen happen, that is going to be the misspelled name of the item forever. So use the flavorful spelling. Alright, now we have our Epic return to sender. Let's go back to the base image, which we saved as a PNG. It may not be a PNG for the Epic, but we know that the heroic needs to be a PNG. So we're going to go like this and try to crop this out in one shot and change that to 420. And that's already pretty much centered. And we can move it down a little bit and shrink it a little bit. Alright, that's going to be our heroic version. So file, export as, return to sender, export, export. Done. We can close that. We don't care about the changes. We can open return to sender. We can go down. Oh, that's right. I almost forgot. We need to do our comparison. So let's do our side by side. File, open, return to sender, do our comparison to make sure things haven't changed. Returning, +5, solar, phlebotomizing, paralyzing, empty orange, augment slot. Oh, the one that's there is a mythic version. So we're going to need to remember that. What I'm actually going to do is I am actually going to save this image as, well, I'm not going to save the image. I'm going to open the image separately because I want to save the image. There it is, return to sender. I didn't want the 411 because that actually modifies it. It resizes it. I want the raw size for it. Let's go to U28, and we're going to rename this one return to sender. I'm going to get rid of the underscores, and we're going to put mythic +2 .pn. I want to have a copy of the mythic, even if it is wrong. because one of the things that we're going to be doing on the wiki with epics, with mythics, is to create a gallery so that you can mouse over the image and see all of the available versions, the base version, the Mythic +1, the Mythic +2, and you can just compare them. It'll just be a little pop-up overlay that won't interfere with the page itself. So we're going to save the Mythic +2. And then, oh, people said stuff on IRC. Something glitched, loads of dust. Nothing there really that I care about. We're going to upload a new version. Crew 121 uploaded this one. Upload a new version of this file. Choose file. Scroll down, return to sender, open. It's above the 150K threshold, so I don't care about warnings. Recent changes, upload log. We're going to copy this. Actually, we're going to copy this for our file changes. Instead of not red box, it's going to be non-skinned, not skinned, non-mythic version from Romania, no changes from live. Alright, upload file. There is our new version. We didn't actually have to bypass our cache this time. If we scroll down, we can see that it's used on the item return to sender page. And click on that. We're going to refresh the page. And there is our bordered non-mythic version. Nothing else there that I'm worried about. So we're done with that one. Next, Barbet's bracelets. Not red version, not mythic, has its borders. We don't have to work on that one. That one is fine. Ship kickers. No picture. Excellent opportunities. So, let's find our ship kickers. Let's open... Well, we've only got 15 minutes left. Let's skip our ship kickers for now. Let's go to... Lion's Mane doesn't increase, but let's go to Slice. Ah, Slice is another skinned one. So, we don't like the skinned ones. So we're going to do something about that. What's Dice look like? Dice one is okay. It's not top quality, but it's okay. So we're not going to worry about that one, or that, or that. We're just going to do Slice. Let's open that in a new tab. So here's our Slice. Let's open the top of Slice. That is the top of Slice. Let's open the bottom of Slice. That's the bottom of Slice. So we get two different images to put together to make Slice. Alright? Binds to account on acquire. Phlebotomizing, heart seeking, exceptional seeker, destruction, empty purple, +5, slice and dice set. I don't like these spaces in here. I do hope that they refine this in a upcoming patch to get rid of those spaces. I don't like that space. I don't like that space either. But it's not about what I don't like. I just hope that they trim it down. If those spaces weren't there, I would have gotten this all in one screenshot. But we got to deal with what we got to deal with. So what do we have here? This picture is 746 and this one's 206. So let's create a new image, and we're going to want it to be we'll just say 500 by 1000 for now. We want just a white background is fine. We don't care about a comment. Okay, new image. Here we go. Let's copy this over here. So what we need to do is we need to select all of this and cut and go here and paste. We'll go to our layers. So we have a floating section. So we need to move that floating section. And we want to move the active layer so we can slide it down. Right down to the bottom. Okay. So now we are going to turn this into a new layer. And we are going to anchor this layer. Nope, we're not going to anchor the layer. We're going to delete the floating layer. The floating selection, we don't need that. Alright, so we have visible. We're going to rename this bottom, press enter to save it. We're going to add a new layer above that. We're going to name it top. Okay, we're going to take the selection tool. We are going to select all of this. We are going to cut it. We no longer need, well, we're going to go over here and we're going to paste. And I believe we can anchor that to our top. And then we could move it. And we're going to actually move the top below the bottom in the layers. We are going to do a fuzzy. We don't need these other windows anymore. The top, we can discard changes to that. We can discard the changes to that. We're just working on this image now. We're going to use our fuzzy select tool. Oh, background, select none. And delete the background. Fuzzy select. Delete the background. Okay. So we now have no background in our bottom. If we make this go away and this go away. So there's our bottom. It has no background. There's our top. If we go to move, I'm going to move the active layer. Let's get rid of that marching ants thing. Oh, that's the top, bottom. We can actually slide that up a little bit. And we're going to take the top, and we're going to slide that down until we get to right here. And we're actually going to have to trim this a little bit. So what I want to do is let's just cut that out. Alright, so back to move, select, none. That's not quite what I want. Let's take the top and move that up off of it for a second. What I want to do is I want to have half of the words equipped to deleted. There we go. So now let's get rid of the selection there. So the reason I want that is so that when I take my, and I move, so when I move this up a little bit, and I take my top and I move it down, I want to be able to match up my letters so that equips to offhand, main hand, offhand looks like one word. In doing that though, it appears that I got a little bit of a size difference going on here. So that's not going to work very well. It doesn't look quite right. So what happens if I move my top above my bottom? I'm just doing trial and error at this point to see what I can do to make it look right. Bottom. Problem is that this is so short. Top, select, delete, select, none. So that looks right. So let's open another image that we did. How about the return to sender that we just did? What happens when we take this top here and we copy and we go over to here and we paste? Well, that looks right. And then what happens when we go copy, paste over here? We slide this down in here. There we go. No, let's undo that for a second. Let's go back to this layer. We didn't quite come down far enough with that. Let's do that. Now, let's copy this and paste it here. And drag it over here. And anchor. And then let's copy this merge point. Bring it over here. And line that up. And anchor that. There we go. Now we have a decent looking slice. Let's crop. From here to here. Make sure that it's 420 wide. Cut. Merge. We now have a single picture for slice. Don't need that anymore. We didn't do any changes to it. So let's save this as, or export it as, slice.png. Export. Export. We're done with that. We're done with GIMP because we're actually 10 o'clock at our end of our stream. We're just going to upload this file and we'll be done. Choose a file. Where did we save it to? Did we paste it over bottom? No. That's not what we want. Update 28. I don't know where it went. Return to sender mythic +2. Well, that's what it says it is. We didn't save it there. Did it somehow get saved to my pictures? That's been known to happen when you're using a thing like that. No, it's not in my pictures. Oh, portable apps, GIMP. GIMP portable. Let's look for slice.png. It's not there. Let's search on the computer. Slice.png. Did we save it or export it? I could have sworn we exported it. Maybe it didn't take. In which case, we lost it, and we'd have to start it all over again, which might not be bad. Yeah, it looks like we lost it. That's been known to happen. Oh well, so that's basically how you do it either way. I'll have to work on that later. So reload. And that's what we accomplished today. We did some uploading. Did a little bit of page editing. And a whole bunch of file editing and taking screenshots. So that's the end of our stream. Please be sure to tune in to us next week at 8 a.m. I'm not sure what the topic will be yet. And stay tuned on this channel for 1 o'clock DDO PL in Polish. And then at 5 p.m. we'll have Twitchy Tuesdays. Everybody have a great week.